Hello juniors, and welcome back to Computer Systems and Programming. For this video, we'll be going over Liclipse, how to install it, and then how to use it. So, I'll be following this activity prompt that has all of the things that I'll be covering, but I'm going to start out here. So first I want to talk about what is Liclipse. Liclipse is an integrated development environment, which is IDE, which is a software application that provides comprehensive facilities to computer programmers for software development. Basically, it makes coding easier to work with. Instead of just using Notepad or Notepad++ like you've done in the past, we'll be using this IDE to kind of help us with debugging and stuff. As well as from Liclipse, you can run your program, debug your program, and view one or multiple projects while still working within one window. So IDEs help with a couple of different things. They help with color coding, which ensures that you have correct syntax. It auto-suggests methods and functions for you as soon as you start typing. It flags errors in your code before you even run it, and then you can run code directly in your IDE. Note that IDEs can also help debugging, but debugging is a more advanced topic that we'll cover later in this course. So first, all you're going to do is navigate to this website, the Liclipse download, and there'll be a get it download. You're going to download the 64-bit Windows version for your Windows computer. You're going to click it. It'll download a .exe, and you're going to click that .exe. And you're just going to follow through the process. It's just going to be a couple of clicks saying like, yes, I want to accept this. There's nothing that you have to check, no checkboxes or anything. Just allow it to make any changes to your computer. After installing Liclipse, just the regular setup, you will see a workspace launcher. What you're going to want to do is make a folder on your desktop called Python, and you're going to set your workspace in the workspace launcher. You're going to set it to your Python folder. So in your desktop, you're going to make a Python folder. Mine is called Liclipse, but make one called Python. And this will be where all of your workspace will go. Then make sure to check the box underneath it in the launcher that says use this as a default and do not ask again. Then click launch. The choose theme window should pop up, and you can choose whatever theme you like. I chose the dark mode because I prefer it for my eyes. Whatever you want, we can work with anything. It doesn't change too much, just the colors of like keywords and such like that. But again, make sure to make this folder called Python and make it your workspace for Liclipse. So before we jump into it, I need to explain directories to you. So let me scroll down to this part. Directories are simply all the folders on your computer. So directories is another word for folders in computer talk. When we talk about current working directory or CWD, that's a folder you're currently working in. In code, this is normally represented by a dot. So when you need to reference a file in another directory, you must navigate to it similar to how you did in web design. So you'll put the dot, which is the current working directory, and then you'll put whatever folders you have to navigate to, and then the file you need. So in this example, it's moving through two folders and then grabbing a file called file.txt. The folders, the name of the file, and the file types will change depending on what file you're looking for. So make sure that you know all that information. It's best to just keep things within the same project folder so that you know how everything works, or so that you know where all your files are and you can reference it fairly easy. So once you have Liclipse installed, it shouldn't take too long. You should get something like this. What we're going to do is make sure that all of our views are the same and that we see the same thing. So you're going to click Window, you're going to click Perspective, and then you're going to click Reset Perspective. That should reset it to the default, which is just this text editor, this outline, and this PyDev package explorer. Then what you're going to do is click Window, Show View, Console, and that should pop up this console on the bottom of your screen. And you can close the outline window on the right hand side if you don't like it. I like it, so I'm going to leave it there. But otherwise, now we should have the same view as each other. Now there's a lot happening on this screen, so let's figure out what is going on. As you can see, there's more in this program. It's similar to when we use Photoshop or Premiere. There's just a lot going on. So let's go through the different areas in total. First, in this area, you have the PyDev Package Explorer. It's on the left side, and this shows you all your project folders and .py module. So as you can see, I have a lot of project folders from all the years of coding I've done, but you make project folders, you can twirl them down, and you can put your .py modules in them. On the bottom, you have your console. This is where you'll actually run your programs, and most of the time when you print out things, it'll print out right here. And when you want to input text, there'll be a spot to input it. Then there's the main editor. That's right here. So let me just open up one of these, and you can see this is the main editor right here. And you can edit the text right here. Nothing was here because we didn't have anything open, but when you double click on modules, they'll open in this. And the last part I want to go through, I'm not going to cover the outline. If you want to use it, you can. That's totally up to you. But otherwise, the last thing I'm going to cover is this quick access bar. So the first icon can be used to make modules. So you'll make project folders, or you can make modules. The second icons are to save. So the first one saves the module you're currently working on. So if I have a module open, it'll save this one if I just click this. But if I have multiple modules open and I click this icon, it'll save all of the modules that we have. You can ignore the next four, so these four, 1, 2, 3, 4. They will, we won't really be covering them, but the one that looks like a bug is to run the debugging mode, and we'll cover that in the debugging lesson. The next one, the green play button, is used to run the program. So when you have a program opened in your main editor, you can click this drop down, and if you click this, just the play button, it'll run whatever you ran last. So the last program I ran was data manipulation. Otherwise, if you click this drop down, just make sure you're on a main editor. You click the drop down, you click run as, Python run, and it'll run the current module you're in. Right now there's nothing happening in this module, so it didn't really run anything. But you can see that it ran because it says terminated comparison operator drills. And then finally, there's the taskbar. This is the only thing you really need to understand. The run, and then the save icons, and the making the project stuff. But then you also have the taskbar, which has all of the normal stuff. Window, run, so you can run from up here as well. And then you can do all of your file management as well. So you can save and stuff from up there. We'll be mostly just using this. So let's talk about actually using Liclipse. So first what we're going to do is we're going to make a new project. So we need to create a project folder for every project we start so that we can keep all of our project files together and easily reference other files in the project. Liclipse has a reference system like Premiere for all of its files. So it's not like Liclipse holds all of these files. What Liclipse does is it looks at that workspace and it looks for all of these things. And so you can see there's these hidden .project and .pydev projects. And so it looks for those files to bring it into the Liclipse thing. So in this project, in these projects, so you can see my Liclipse. Here's the comparison operators. It has the same 5 .pys that are in here. And that's because it's referencing, it's looking at this, and it's referencing my workspace that I have. So to make a project, all you have to do is File, New, PyDev Project, or you can click this drop down. You're going to have to give it a name. When you're naming a project, there's no space and you use camel casing. So camel casing is you capitalize the first word of every word, or the first letter of every word. So it's hello world. So this would be camel casing. You can also do this. I prefer to leave the first letter lowered. If you don't have your interpreter, which is the thing we downloaded first, you're going to click here to configure it, and you should be able to do an auto configuration, and that should find the .py or the Python that we downloaded. So you should be able to try quick auto config. If it's not working, you can also do manual config and locate where your Python was installed. But if you're having problems, you can always reach out to me. Then all you have to do is click finish, and your project folder should show up in your PyDev package explorer. Then what we need to do is actually make a .py, make the actual module that we work in. So you do File, New, PyDev module. Again, you can also do it from this icon right here. I just prefer using the file. So let's name this the same one. We'll do Hello World, and we'll click OK. And you see that this will pop up, and it'll give you some template information such as the author and the date created. But you'll see the .py pop up in the PyDev package explorer. And you'll find the same .py in your workspace. So in my Liclipse, you can find Hello World, and you see that .py is popped up here. So now I can edit it. So let's try just some code. You can type print hello world, and we'll put an exclamation point. Now let's try running this. All you have to do is click this drop down. You click run as Python run, and you'll see it prints out hello world. And then once you're done with this, once you're done seeing that, you can click this that removes all the terminated launches. So it closes all the windows so that you don't have clutter down there. Note, you have to do that process, that run process, every time you want to run a new project. If you just click this, it'll run whatever you did last. So right now, it's running hello world over and over. If I want to go back to running the debug or running one of these, I have to do this again. Or you can click this drop down and run. So see, I can run the comparison operators again. Next thing I want to talk about is importing a module. Although sometimes you'll be making a module, most of the time you'll be importing modules. This is because we'll give you drill files and you'll need to download them and import them into it. All you have to do is go to your file explorer right here and copy the .py that you want and move it into the hello world. So I downloaded this variables outline. I'm going to Control X or Control C, either one copies. And then I'm going to go into my hello world, and I'm going to Control V. So now you can see that variables outline.py is in my workspace in my project folder. And if I go back, oh, there it is. And now I can open it and I can start editing it. So you're going to have to do that for all of the drills that you have. You'll have to move it into there. It should automatically import, but sometimes you have to do file refresh for it to pop up down here. Or you can right click on this and refresh just that module or just that project. So we don't have to name the module and the project folder the same thing. For our projects, they will be named the same thing. That's just because we're doing very small projects. But professional programmers normally have multiple modules in one project, so they will have to have a lot of different names. So just to kind of summarize what we all did, we installed an IDE, Liclipse, that's what we're working in, to organize all of our code and files, and then we set up our first project, which was Hello World, and all it did was print out Hello World. Now what I want you to do, and this is in the activity prompt, is I want you to practice in Liclipse. So we want you to create more projects to really get the hang of it. So you're going to make the following projects and modules. You'll make a project called your first name, so Michael, and then you'll make a module within that project called your last name. So you'll have a project folder named Michael and a module named williams.py or whatever your name is. Then you're going to make another project called practice project. And in that project, you want to make 2 modules. Make one called module 1 and one called module 2. And then finally, you're going to make a project folder and module called finally done. So at the end of this practice, you should have a project folder called your name. You should have a project folder called practice project. You should have a project folder called finally done. And within them, you should have a williams.py, module 1 and 2.py, and a finally done.py. You do not have to show me that you finished this. If you really want to and you want me to give you some congratulations, you can always send me an email with it. But otherwise, just do that to get a little bit of practice with doing this Liclipse stuff. That's all you have to do for this. Just install Liclipse, understand everything that I went through in this lesson, and then practice it a little bit because you'll be doing this a lot. If you have any questions, you can always email me at mwilliams24@wis.edu. And otherwise, I will see you later.